Okay, you guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through this lesson as if you were in class. So if you've started on it and you want to fix anything, then we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a whiteboard, okay, and a few of my markers. Okay, so mostly I will be showing you the work here because my document camera's not doing the best right now. Okay, so with absolute value, our aha moment is really that it is the distance from zero. And a lot of you have already done this lesson. And so you might be like, I've got this down pretty well. Okay, but for now, we're going to go through this lesson and see what we need to do to fix any, review, or revise any of our work. Okay, so we had the vocabulary lesson, I think not on yours, but that's okay. We'll skip that part. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, so this one was all about thinking about positive, negative, or zero. Okay, so if you think about this first one, come on, quick. Okay, so 5 minus a 10. Well, if we just quickly think about it, well, that first number is smaller than the second number. So I know that's going to be a negative. Okay, so that rule of the first number, if you're subtracting a larger number, then it will be a negative. Okay, the second one, so right here, this was, remember the opposites. So I gave that little tip of if we have that negative sign, it turns it into a positive. It's as if I owed someone $8 and they took away that debt. So it actually equals a plus 8. Okay, so plus 8 minus 2, that's going to be, and remember, we can just consider that a plus 8 is just 8, okay? So then minus 2, it's still going to be a positive 6, okay? So that's good for that one. So next one, okay, a negative 5 plus a 5. So a good scenario that came up today was, well, I owed somebody $5 and then I gave them $5. So that's going to keep you at 0. Next one, well, now we've got almost the opposite rule of we had on that first one. So if I've got a negative $4 and then my second amount is larger and I'm adding that, well, that pulls me over to the other side of being a positive number, right? I get to 0 to get, from negative 4, I jump 4 spaces to 0, and then I get to keep going, the additional 11 spaces, okay? So our first question was about Lorena's bank account. Her bank will actually loan her the money if she overdraws money, if it's under $100 or $100, less than $100. So that means if she's shopping and accidentally spends too much money, the bank will help her cover that cost of the overdrawn account. Okay, so what I like to do to getting started with this is I want to first write down, what do I know in this problem? So she starts out, with a positive number. She has $13, okay? So that is something that we know is true. So I would put problem 1 plus 13. Okay, I'm going to remember that it's money, so I'm going to put that symbol there, okay? And then she also decides, well, I have to go some grocery shopping. So, well, again, we're making up a story. She has a negative. She's withdrawing $81.50. Okay, I'm just going to leave that as not a math problem, but just as like information. Okay, so now let's look at the questions. Move my video over here. Okay. So in the context of this story, what does a positive number mean? Well, if I look at the information that I took from the problem, I already see a positive. I see a plus 13. So a positive means, okay, if this is A, she has that money. That is money she owns. I'd say money she owns, right? She doesn't owe it to anybody. She owns it. It is her money, okay? She's got a positive amount in the bank, okay? Positive amount. Okay, so now let's look at, okay, that's for positive. Okay, now think about a negative number. So I see a negative, but she still has $13. So she goes below 0. So negative is below 0. So she owes it back to the bank. Okay, so she is in debt to them. She owes them whatever the difference is, and we'll get that to the next problem. Okay, and then what about 0? I like to think about that last question we had, the -5 plus 5. Well, if she had $13 and only spent $13, she would have $0. Okay, so 0 really just means 0. Okay, so she had 13, and then she subtracted 13, and that would be 0. Okay, so that is the first part of the problem. Then we'll go to the next one. Okay, so this is the jumping frog competition again as well. Let me grab my eraser. Okay, so we've got a Dr. Frog and Bumble Frog. They're in the jumping competition. I would start this one again, taking the information that I need. So this is problem 2. So Dr. Frog hopped 8 feet to the right. So I'm going to do Dr. Frog real quick. I'm going to abbreviate 8 feet to the right. Okay, then he went 3 to the left. That's telling me my directions. Okay, so I know my negative is to the left. I know my positive is to the right. Okay, and then Bumble, call him Bum, Bumb. I might as well just, okay, Bumble. He did 9 to the left and 1 to the right. So that's my information that I want to draw from. Okay, so now let's think about, oh, you know what? We forgot to do the last part of the other question. Okay, we'll come back to it. Yeah, whoops. Okay, so now we want to write an expression to represent the jumps for each problem or each frog. So remember when we just did the blue little tiles that had those were expressions. Okay, they show information. So we now need to turn this into what would it look like to be 8 to the right. So you can consider plus 8, right? And then to the left would be minus 3. Okay, we can actually take this off, and that is our expression. Okay, so now let's do Bumble. Okay, so Bumble is, oh, he's right here. See, it's nice. So 9 to the left. So now we know it's to the left, so we have to put that sign right there. And then plus 1. Okay, that's our expression. Expression doesn't mean solve, but for part B, we do need to consider the answer. So it says, which frog is ahead? So that means if they were going in the same direction. Okay, so at this point, we're assuming that the finish line is in the positive. We don't know that, but we're going to assume that for this one. So 8 minus 3 is 5. And then -9 plus, going to the right, 1, okay, is -8. So we now know that 5, so let's see, this is Dr. Frog and Bumble, is actually higher in the positive, okay? So I could prove that by saying 5 is greater than -8. Okay. So the next part would be C. So that was B, C. And this part is just tricky because the wording maybe for some of you. So now imagine the winner of the frog jumping contest is not just who's farther in the positive, but who's farther from 0. Imagine if I'm back to back with somebody and we both do 1, 2, 3, jump. And we're going to measure who jumped furthest. It wouldn't matter what direction we jumped. It would just matter how far. Okay, so in this instance, we're thinking about absolute value. So absolute value has bars like this. It's sort of trapped in this little box. So the first one was 5. The second one was -8. But as we know, and plus from the video, absolute value is always written as a positive number. Okay, so this one is 5 and this one is 8. Now we can clearly see that 8 is bigger than 5 because that was the furthest away from 0. Okay, so that's how we would compare that. So now Bumble is actually the official winner. Good job, Bumble. That's my nice star for you. Oh gosh, maybe that's a frog instead. Okay, so let me go back. I apologize to the last one. Okay. Silly me. Did not know. Didn't mean to not complete that one. Okay, so we understood that the positive number, positive, negative, and 0, we understood that. So let's go back to B. Okay, so we now know that Lorena's balance in her account is negative 68. Okay, that's information we got from the problem. Okay, then, well, will the bank loan her this amount? Well, what did the bank say again? The bank said that they will loan money to customers if they overdraw their accounts by less than $100. Well, did she spend $100 that she didn't have? No, she spent less. So we want to write that sentence out today because it's going to help us do the next one. Okay, so yes, the bank will loan her the money because it is less than negative 100. Okay. Oh, that looks like 1,000. If I looked at the camera here. Negative less than. Okay. Okay. So now if you think about that, I said the word less than 100. Okay. So now we're going to do a numerical inequality. Inequalities are comparing two things. Either they're equal, either one is bigger, one is smaller. Okay. That's all they can be. Okay. And numerical just means number. It's just another word to say number. And then inequality is showing which one, if they're equal or not. Okay. So now let's just transfer that. Well, we know we can write in any order. I'm going to start with the negative 100. Negative 100, okay, is a greater amount in this instance. Okay, it's more negative, and that's what they care about. We're not saying which number is bigger, okay, because the story matters, the context matters. Okay, so negative 100 is a bigger amount to be in debt than 6850. Okay. So the bank will allow her to make this withdrawal. So this is our inequality. This is our numerical inequality because we used our Pac-Man or dinosaur or whatever alligator that you do. Okay, so that was part C. Okay. Last question that we didn't necessarily get to as a class here. So if you didn't get to question 3, that's okay. This one was just a quick review. This is sort of our aha moment here. So if we understand what absolute value is, we should be able to answer these questions pretty quickly. Okay, so for example, the absolute value of negative 4 is a positive 4. Okay, I'm going to jump over to this one. The absolute value of negative 99 is 99. Okay, so then when we compare this, you would be writing, well, now that they're negatives, but they're not really because it's absolute value. So 5 is greater than 4. Well, 29 and absolute value negative 29, those are both positive 29, so those are equal. Okay, so that's how you do that one. Okay, and so the last problem is a little bit more lengthy. So what I will do, I want you to consider the information that you need. Okay, and then I'm going to sort of go over that with the work that I did already. So I'm going to see if I can. Okay, you guys, so we're going to continue with this problem. I'm just going to walk you through this sheet. Okay, so this is problem 3. So we know that Mr. Lizard starts at 0 and he jumps 7 to the left. Okay, Auntie Longlegs, she starts at 0 and jumps 5 to the right. I guess I could have put this one on that side, but that's just my information. Okay, so here I decided to sketch it just to help me out. So here's 0, and I did Auntie Longlegs. Okay. I'm just going to start with the right since that's sort of what I'm doing. We did 5 to, okay, plus 5 Auntie Longlegs. Okay, and then I've got Mr. Wizard. He went all the way to 7 to the left. This is our inequality statement. Remember, a positive 5 is going to always be bigger than a negative number. Okay, so we know that this 5 is going to be larger. Okay, then it asks us to double check. Okay, so let's see. So then it says for each part, write the distance each one ended up from 0. Okay, the distance that it ended up from 0, which frog was farther from 0. Okay, write an absolute value statement. That's where we're at next. Okay, so here is my absolute value statement. Okay, so if it landed at -7, an absolute value would be a jump of 7 units. Okay, remember, back to back, these frogs are back to back and they are jumping. Okay, then Mr. Wizard, okay, Longlegs, Auntie Longlegs, was 5 positive jumps, but still 5 away from 0. So then when you complete that question, well, Mr. Wizard is 7 jumps away from 0. So he's actually winning. If it's just distance of jumps, they don't have to go the same direction. Okay, the next part takes some organization. So it asks to first write it as an expression. Okay, remember expressions is this part right here. Taking those directions in word form and changing it into numerical form. Okay, so we've got 7 minus 5. Oh, these are the two frogs. Let's make sure we know where we're at here. Okay, so the next part, okay, there we go. The next part is talking about hopping Hanover, Gigi, and B major and D minor. Okay, this is what they did. So we didn't actually have to write that. I just took that. So we need to first find the landing point. Okay. Okay, so it already gave us this information here. So we're going to find the landing point. And how I did that? Well, I can use my number line, and I do have number lines here for you guys when you get in class. Again, everything next week will just be a little bit better because you will already have been here. Okay, so I think that's the tricky part about this week. Okay, is that you didn't get any of us beforehand. Okay, so now you can sort of track. If you want to do 7, okay, take away 5, you'd land at a positive 2. Okay, Gigi started at a -1 and then also took away, okay, let's see, started at a -1, took away 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then added a positive 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're not even seeing this, my bad. Okay, so started at a -1. Okay, took away 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then added a positive 4. So then you get to go backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, to leave me at a -3. So that's how you might use that number line. You can always draw one. You can find one online. Okay. So then after we did that, we had to find the ending points. So notice that I think we had to find the absolute value of them. Okay. Oh, first we had to do this part. When looking at it with just not thinking about the distance from 0, just what number is greater or less than. A positive will always be greater than a negative. Then we had to write them as absolute value. Those are those bars. Okay, absolute value. Right here, absolute value. And then when we turn the answer into a positive, then we can tell that Gigi actually won. So you do the same step for this one. And the interesting thing about B and D is that, not B like B the frog and D the frog, is that one went the exact same distance to the left as they did to the right. They both traveled 3.5. So after you go through the absolute value of that, they are equal. Okay, I think that's how you do that. So hopefully you get some tips and tricks. I know this video is a little bit longer. They won't be, but yeah, we will see you in class on, and we'll have some questions for Wednesday if you need it, but we'll see you in class on Thursday.